Hello everyone, I'm Mike Anderson from Collision Advice, and this is my great friend Danny Gredenberg from the DEG. And we are so excited to be working with SCRS to bring you a brand new series of quick tips to help you to boost your business. Welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about batteries. And first of all, we're not going to be able to cover this in just this one tip. So look for more tips in the future. First of all, most, if not all OEMs state that you must disconnect a battery before you do any welding, or in a lot of cases, even disconnect an electrical component. So it's not uncommon, I would say in 99% of the repairs we do, for the technician to have to disconnect the battery. So what is the purpose of today's tip? That is, anytime you disconnect a battery, you want to go into the OEM manufacturer's electronic service manual, ESMs, and you want to look up the procedures that are required after the battery has been disconnected and reconnected. So let me say that again. Anytime we disconnect a battery, we need to research in the OEM repair procedures what procedures are required, and keywords required, when the battery has been disconnected and reconnected. Now, some of these procedures are going to be referred to as initializations. An initialization would be, for example, like a one-touch feature on a window or a one-touch feature on a sunroof, where you hit the button and the window just goes all the way down or all the way up. Some of your battery disconnect and reconnect procedures may require a test drive. Yes, may require a test drive for the engine to go back and relearn, some type of management system within the engine and its processes and performance. Here's another little thought for you as well. Work bill not performed. Don't put on the estimate that you R&I'd the battery if all you did was disconnect one of the terminals. So with that said, let's now talk to Jeff from I-CAR. Jeff, first of all, when we're going to disconnect a battery, which terminal are we going to disconnect?
Generally, it's going to be the negative terminal first, but let's not get in too big a hurry after we jump out of the car and run around here and disconnect the battery, because typically that's what happens, at least myself as a technician. I bring it into my stall, I know I've got work to do. I want to get out, I want to disconnect the battery and move on. On many of today's vehicles, there's a wait time between the point in time where you turn the ignition off and you disconnect that battery, because there's certain electronic systems that are starting to remember things and capture some data, and it's very, very critical. I've seen these wait times anywhere from 90 seconds to over 5 minutes on different vehicles. So that's very, very important before you disconnect that battery. I'm going to transition to a little bit different topic, and you'll notice on the negative terminal of this battery, even though this is an EV, it has a battery monitoring system for the 12-volt battery in here. And this is very popular on our gasoline-powered or ICE engine vehicles, as well as hybrids and electric vehicles, because they need to monitor the state of charge of that battery. This is something that's very important for us in the shop, because I see a lot of folks out there jump starting conventional vehicles with a jump pack or throwing a charger on and throwing that charger right on the plus and minus terminal. And what you're doing at that point in time in most cases is you're circumventing, you're putting energy back into that battery that this vehicle has no idea is going back into that battery. In most cases, the vehicles that have battery management systems, when you jump start, they will allow you to use the positive terminal or a remote post that they've got mounted someplace on the for the positive terminal. And then they want you to find another good chassis ground type situation, either over on the engine, or they'll have a ground post someplace mounted on a strut tower or something like that, that they want you to use for that negative. That way, you're putting energy back into that battery that that system can see, and it knows it's happening. The long-term effect of charging a battery right on the post is that it can throw off the algorithm, the programming in the system, and it may overcharge or undercharge that battery, and it may be a long-term failure situation for that battery if that's happened. And of course, most of us are familiar that whenever we replace a battery, what do we have to do, Mike?
When we have to take a replacement battery, we sometimes have to reset a lot of different electronic procedures.
Yep.
And we have to do a post-repair scan.
Yep. And with a replacement, generally you may have to go in there and code or in some other way reset that battery management system and tell that vehicle that, hey, you've got a new battery now, and start over fresh.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you, Jeff, because you have all this great information. A lot of times I get asked the question, when we talk about scanning a vehicle, we talk about hooking up battery support, right? When we hook up battery support, should that battery support be to the battery? Or if, like you said, there is a, can't think of the word you just used a minute ago. Like
remote or an alternative.
Remote, yeah. What's better to hook the battery support up to? One of the remote connections or directly to the battery?
Typically, I would treat it just like you were doing a charger or a jump start.
Okay.
That way, that system's aware of what's happening with that battery and any energy going in or coming out.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, as we talk today about batteries, and we've just scratched the surface, understand this. First of all, use the right terminology on your estimate. Don't put the R&I of the battery if all we're doing is disconnecting one terminal. Second of all, which terminal do we disconnect?
Typically the negative.
Typically the negative. However, what you heard Jeff said is, as an estimator, we need to research their own repair procedures so that we understand what the wait time is. Because as Jeff said, it could be a 15-second wait time or it could be more than 5 minutes. So find out what the wait time is from the time you turn the vehicle off until we disconnect the battery. And last but not least, make sure we research in the OEM repair procedures what procedures will be required when the battery is disconnected and reconnected. And a lot of times that'll be things such as initializations, may require a test drive. Ladies and gentlemen, we just scratched the surface of batteries, but we'll see you again soon.
If you find these tips helpful, please subscribe, like, and share, and comment below for any future suggestions. Thank you for watching.